These are 7 feet tall, some of them, that one especially. It'll lean a little bit and then it'll get lower and lower. And I have a lavender morning glory that's climbing up it. So it's going to be really interesting. And I've started cutting back my anise, and then the anise is blooming. I don't know if you can see it, but here's some little blooms. See? They smell really good. And then I've got nasturtium. I haven't made any salad lately. I've got to get a little bamboo grass out of my flying dragon seedlings. I've got a lot of seedlings. And then I've got honeysuckle growing up the trellis. And I don't know what that plant is. When it blooms, I'll know, I guess. And then I got a squash off that squash tree, squash plant. And I finished painting half of the trellis last night. So there you go. I've got to go buy 2 bottles today. I won't be able to paint today. The monkey wort is, I think that's what it's called, is blooming, that purple stuff. And we took down the geranium when Bob took down the trellis. I have a begonia on the other shepherd's hooks. And then I've got my blue bottles. And then there's the seat for the trellis. And this kale just keeps on giving. I have like 7 buckets of kale, and we did winter sowing, and I just eat kale a lot. And we enjoyed the cilantro quite a bit, but then it got taken over by a beautiful wandering Jew, and I wish I could sell the wandering Jew. It's a blue wandering Jew, and I've trimmed it back some. And I've got 1 bucket of grass for the cat and several buckets of catnip for the cat. And then I keep trimming things, but this is phlox. And what I want to do is I want to dig it up and put it in pots because, well, it takes over if you don't keep it in a pot. And you can't eat it. So if it were mint, I'd be happy, but it's not something I can eat. And then we've got morning glories I planted. And then a beautiful althea. Now there are 2 trees, and it looks like 1 tree, but it's 2 trees. There's a white one and a purple one. And today is not the day of the most flowers. I think 3 days ago was the day with the most flowers. But those althea have a purple center. The ones that are white, and I don't know if you can even pick it up because it's so dark. But then this one is a short one that probably came from seeds from the double althea on the other side of the yard. And it's all white, and this is an all white althea. And it's probably too large to dig up. And then underneath that, I have put I rooted a gardenia over 20 years ago. My sister gave me cuttings. And so 2 of them made it. One is in the back 40, and then they've got some garlic down there, birdhouse. And then sedum. The sedum bloomed really pretty this spring, and it's doing really well. And then over here, I've got a tree growing. If anybody wants a tulip poplar, you can come and get it from me. And then I got some tea and I planted it, and so I've gotten quite a bit of chamomile that came up. I think that's chamomile. It sure is a hardy, tall chamomile. And then I've got pennywort, and then there's mint. And I found a smoker on the side of the road, and what I did is I picked it up and I put the grill in and use it as a bird bath. which probably shouldn't be near the house, but this is a nice shady spot, so I thought I'd put it there. And maybe I should have put it underneath the crepe myrtle that is growing above the house. I don't know if you can see it, but it's real pretty from the other side of the street. And I'm going to get some paint and paint these tires, probably green, so they'll make nice Christmas wreaths. Because that's what we do in Georgia. We decorate our tires. This is a grapevine. It keeps climbing. I can't get it with my hands. I have to get something else. There are weeds growing. Not a lot, because I keep working on them. But there are weeds growing in my heirloom azalea. I rescued it, I thought, because I thought they were going to build. But they didn't build on one of the plots or acres in my neighborhood. There are 5 acres that have never been built on. Well, then it looks like I've got a lot of weeds here, but they're chocolate mint right there, and then variegated hydrangea there. It did bloom this year, so I was really happy about that. And from a distance, maybe you can see the little blooms of the anise. I hear an owl in the background. And that peach tree that's sitting on the shed is only about 7 or 8 years old. And it's about the same size as it was when it was like 5 years old. It hasn't grown a whole lot more. We keep pruning it. All right, so let me show you my winter garden. I've got 2 willow trees. I don't know whether to sell them. I did buy the willow and root them, and that's very easy. If you ever see willow in the grocery store, buy it, because you can root it. We have one big, I'm thinking it's a squash. I'm not really sure. It's probably about ready to pick. And then I've got 4 o'clocks, and I've got things that haven't bloomed, and I don't know what they are. If I reach down, they probably have a little sign. I did label quite a few. And then I've got a squash that I moved to the sun because it just wasn't doing well under the shade. But I put it in the shade, all of these in the shade, for some reason. Mainly because I wanted to play around, and as you can see, I don't have a lot of yard to play around with because of the trees. Someone gave me a beautiful blue hydrangea, and I've rooted it. Actually, she gave it to me with roots, and I didn't kill it. I should say it that way. I should be more humble. And I do want to plant this really pretty Japanese maple, and probably where I will want to plant it is over here somewhere, so that when we're looking from the windows we can see it, because right here is a Japanese maple. It's probably too close, but it's got cherry leaves all in it, because the cherry leaves all fall off in early August. They always do. And then I've got what is it? Avocados. I have so many avocado trees that have come up. And I've got dill that's come up. I need to add more soil to it. And I planted milkweed yesterday. I know it's the wrong time to plant it, but I thought I'd, I didn't have enough buckets. And for some reason, the lady at Target Bakery got really tired of washing buckets, because if she didn't wash them, she didn't have to give them to me. She could just throw them in the garbage and not have to worry about it. So let me go down here and show you one of my hibiscus. It's blooming. I have quite a bit of elderberry. And of course I've got beautyberry. I do not mix them up. But the elderberry I'm going to make jelly with as soon as it gets dark enough. We've got 2 packages of jelly mix. Here are some of the avocado trees that I have. They're growing in our compost bin. We've got a little tiny compost bin. And we never get compost out of it, and we never turn it over. We don't do anything right when it comes to gardening. All right, so this is a hibiscus. And this is the original spot where all the hibiscus came. And there's my thumb to put it into perspective. Some of the hibiscus get larger than a dinner plate. I kid you not. And yes, that noise that you heard, that was the magnolia. Goes really up high. I have no clue how tall that is because it's downhill from our house. We used to have huge Leyland Cypress, but last year we cut them down for $5,000. They hand carried them out of the yard. They gave us half of the mulch, and our yard was not ruined. I'm so happy. We used, I think it's Beaver tree service. And then we have this beautiful double amaryllis, and not amaryllis, althea. And then we also have moonflower. So if you see a simple white flower, like the ones straight near the sun over there, but right over there, I'll get it a little bit off. Those are the tulip kind of, or trumpet shaped. Those are the moonflower, and it's a form of morning glory, but it really is earlier maybe, and it's really pretty at night in the early morning. And this vine went up the I probably made a mistake, but I put the wheelbarrow out here. The wheel didn't fit, and it was always losing air, and we need a new one. We've got a little tiny black one that's good enough. But there you go. And then there's a holly tree that's quite tall. It's not half as tall as the magnolia, but you know, when you're looking up from the ground, it's still much taller than I am. And then across and behind our neighbors, we have a crepe myrtle that is huge. It's taller than the magnolia that they have, and their magnolia is still blooming. Mine, I think, is over. I've got fruit on mine, what they call fruit. All right, and I have some of this double althea, if someone wanted to dig it up this winter. And that is the sun over there. Maybe not the sun, maybe that's the house light. Well, this over here looks like a bunch of weeds, but they are mostly goldenrod, which is edible and good for your liver, and mint, and phlox. Cannot get rid of the phlox. And over here near the shed is lemon balm. I have so much lemon balm, and I could dig some up and give some to someone, and it's filled with seeds. So somebody would have seeds if I gave them some of that.